I'm Anita Huberman. I'm CEO of the Surrey Board of Trade. Thank you for joining us this morning for our Surrey Entrepreneur Showcase. And this is a series that we started way before the pandemic with in-person events to really showcase the great entrepreneurs that exist in our great city. And we're continuing on with that, and hopefully more in person after Labor Day this year. But we have a great lineup of amazing stories of Surrey entrepreneurs on what worked and what didn't, meant to inspire you, meant to innovate everything that you're doing in terms of the processes within your businesses or organizations. I acknowledge this morning that we're on the territory of the treaty territory of the Tsawwassen First Nations and the unceded territory of our Coast Salish peoples, specifically the Kwantlen, Katzie, and Semiahmoo First Nations. I also acknowledge that we're on the land of the Inuit and Métis territories as well. Ladies and gentlemen, events at the Surrey Board of Trade simply do not happen without sponsorship. Thank you to our Business and International Trade Center sponsors, the law firm of Fasken, the Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan represented by S&F Benefits, BDC, the Business Development Bank of Canada, and Scotiabank. Just some instructions before we begin. All attendees are muted. If you do have a question, please put it in the chat function of the technology and we'll get to them after the session is over. If we're not able to get to your question, we'll respond to you with an answer after the event. So just to let you know that the Surrey Board of Trade, we're formed a collaboration of sorts with technology, with healthcare, with education, with financial institutions. And certainly this all began before the pandemic, but it really is meant to provide pathways of support, pathways of connections with not only pieces related to Surrey, but all throughout Canada. And it's a consortium and collaboration called Startup Surrey, and they are our co-host for this series. So ladies and gentlemen, to tell you a little bit more about Startup Surrey, please help me welcome the Manager of Client Services for the Lark Group, Margot Goley. Margot, over to you, please.
There we go. I'm unmuted. I'm on camera. Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Anita and the Surrey Board of Trade for allowing Startup Surrey to co-sponsor today's event celebrating entrepreneurship in Surrey. Startup Surrey is a volunteer network of innovative business partners and entrepreneurs passionate to collaborate and inspire innovation. Startup Surrey is very excited to host our first big event on July the 8th at 4 p.m. in collaboration with the global movement known as F-Up Nights. Please reach out to our website to learn more about becoming a member or to learn more about our partners, upcoming social events, and connect to resources that support startup businesses. Thanks to Surrey Board of Trade and other founding partners. I hope you all enjoy this Surrey Entrepreneurship Showcase today, and let's continue to inspire our growing entrepreneurial community here in Surrey. Thank you.
Thank you, Margot. And together we're powering up entrepreneurial success right here in Surrey. And Surrey is going to be the largest city in British Columbia by 2030. And we know that if you are a business owner or a business leader within a company, success is a journey. It's not a destination. And it's not something that you make a lot of money and then it's all over. It's something that you're committed to in a variety of aspects. And it's something that you just, can't turn the light off and forget about even when you go to sleep. So ladies and gentlemen, today we're showcasing three very different industries, amazing stories, all different on what worked, what didn't. And I imagine they're going to talk a little bit about their experiences during the pandemic as well and how they persevered. It's my pleasure to welcome our first speaker. And she's just an amazing lady, and we've interfaced with her during the pandemic around different advocacy to instigate change at the different levels of government. Please help me welcome. She's the founder and owner of Live Well Exercise Clinic. She was named Surrey's Business Person of the Year in 2017. Sara Hodson, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anita, and a pleasure to be with all of you. And what a year it has been. Ironically, this is just the perfect week for me to be sharing and speaking about my entrepreneurial journey, as this week marks the 10-year anniversary when I opened my very first Live Well Exercise Clinic location in Surrey. And this was the week that my business was born. And when I really think back to the beginning, I would have never thought that I was an entrepreneur. I would have never thought that I would do something entrepreneurial. And for those of you who know me now, that might be surprising, because I do love to innovate and pursue entrepreneurial things. I just didn't know that about myself. I came out of university at UBC and I worked for Fraser Health Authority for a decade. I had a union job. It was safe and secure. And I thought, this is how I'm going to retire. I'm going to work my union job and retire. And this is what a great life. And then kind of some challenges came along my way. One of them being that I chose to have 4 children and I needed childcare. And so started my first entrepreneurial adventure, where I couldn't find suitable and accessible childcare and childcare that I could really afford. And so what I did was I actually opened my own daycare, hired staff, and through that project, I was able to financially have my children's childcare covered through the income of the other children in the daycare, so that I could go to work every day and continue my professional pursuits. And, I probably saved, anywhere from $150,000 to $175,000 over that time in putting 4 children through daycare. And so, it led me in 2010. I had my 4th baby and I was on maternity leave, and I knew this was the last child. I knew this was a moment in time for me that I was going to go back to my job, my union job that was safe and secure. And so it's a time when I paused and I really had to think, is this something that I enjoy professionally? Is this the pursuit that I want to continue? And for the previous 5 years, I had really recognized a gap, but it was a gap in my professional pursuits, which was, I was exercising people after they'd had heart attacks in something called cardiac rehab, which many of you may have heard of. And I saw a huge gap between traditional fitness and the medical care that we were providing for people who had chronic health conditions. And so in this moment in time, I took my son in his infant carrier and I started looking for space to lease in the Surrey area, specifically in the South Surrey area. And I think that a testament to networks and communities, and specifically even these communities like what we have at Surrey Board of Trade. There was a board member that was on the board of Peace Arch Hospital Foundation, who I had worked closely with due to the work that I had been doing for Fraser Health. And it turned out that when I went out to go and look at spaces to run a business, that he owned the building where I was looking for a space. Now, keep in mind, I really had no money or business starting a business. I had no business plan. I had no experience leasing commercial space. I didn't look good in terms of a resume as a new tenant leasing a space. And through the connection of this gentleman who was on the board and owned this building, he said, I believe in you and I believe that this is something our community needs. And he gave me the opportunity. And So I was able to use the network of physicians in our community, and I was able to join groups that really supported me and that helped me to, challenge me and understand how to be really focused in my business and how to grow it and how to work on my business, not just in my business, because to make it affordable, I had to work in my business at the time. And so as the years went on, in 2011, I opened my first location in South Surrey, and my business grew. And again, my business is very, very focused on exercising people with health conditions. And we were able to continue to open up locations. In year 2 of my business, we opened up in Kerrisdale in Vancouver. In year 3, we had to come back into South Surrey and open another location. We had 90 people on our wait list ready and waiting and wanting to start. And from there, we then opened 17 locations across Canada with a franchise model. And that started in 2015. And that was a really exciting journey because I had to put everything together in systems. And a huge part of my business that we started from day one was building technology. And that was something that now, having come through this COVID-19 pandemic, I'm so grateful that we had the ability and the access to teams and staff who could code and who could help to innovate and build our technology here in the city of Surrey. And so my business continued to grow through franchising. And that doesn't come with all glory and just all making money. It costs a lot of money to franchise. And there's a little bit of a hidden gem in franchising that, usually it takes to about 75 to 100 units open before a franchisor is truly profitable. And so it takes a lot of investment and time and energy to get there. During this process, we made the decision to embark into the US. And that was a huge, huge decision that we made in 2017. We started preparing for it. We went out and we looked for some of the best investment teams, partners in the US that we possibly could in order to help our brand to be successful. And in 2018, I was able to secure a partnership with Drew Brees of the NFL and a franchise group. And we set off on our plans to franchise the US. And it takes time through legal and through commercial real estate and build outs and so forth. And what you would think would then be an exciting turn in the story, which was that we had a massive grand opening, exciting plan. Drew was on site. It was going to be amazing for a grand opening of our first US location on March 16th, 2020. This was not a good day. This was a day where the 3 days prior, we had shut down all of our clinics across Canada. The borders were now closed. And I, over the next 2 weeks, had to make the very difficult decision to completely withdraw my business from the US and to become a Canadian-centric company again. It was not met with a lot of excitement from my friends south of the border because things were a little bit more open and they didn't understand why I would be closing things and bringing this back to Canada. But I knew that we had to go into survival mode. And for any of you who have followed the fitness industry over the last 15 months, we have been absolutely decimated. We are one of the hardest hit industries. It has been a hard year to keep our business alive. For us at LiveWell, we have had to close 4 of our clinics. All of those clinics were ones that opened shortly before the pandemic hit and literally just didn't have a chance to get off of their feet. And so a lot of tough decisions were made, and I had to make a lot of decisions on my own, believing in myself as the founder, believing in my passion and my purpose. And I think that what I really learned in all of this is that I do know my business best, and I do have to follow my own gut and my own heart, and that's okay. And I'm not going to make everybody happy all the time. I ended up with lawsuits. I ended up with huge issues to deal with, from walking away from leases and so forth, and a lot of litigation issues, a lot of unpaid invoices. And so I spent the next 3 months, March, April, May, June of 2020, negotiating invoices down and trying to get out of lawsuits and settlements and so forth. I can say now, 15 months later, that I'm completely clean from my US breakup. We are proud and we are Canadian. And at this stage in time, I own 100% of my business again, based here in Surrey, head office in Surrey. The pandemic was difficult for us. However, the fitness industry was strong and came together, and we have absolutely fabulous opportunities ahead of us. I know that my time is running out. I do want to say a special thank you to the Surrey Board of Trade, and specifically to Anita. And as Anita shared before I started presenting, we have had, I've been able to have the pleasure of working alongside Carl Ulmer, who's actually the Director of Operations for Club 16 Trevor Linden Fitness. Him and I have led the provincial fitness industry as well as the national fitness industry to advocate for fitness, to advocate to a financial recovery plan for the fitness industry. And we've gained national attention. And here in British Columbia, we can be very proud that fitness has been able to stay the most open of any province for the longest amount of time. And when I kind of pull back every single connection and advocacy effort and process that we were able to follow that ended up in success for the fitness industry, it all ties back to the Surrey Board of Trade and to Anita and her strength and advocacy and relationships, which are known very, very well in this city. But I will say, from being on a national stage now of advocacy, is known across this country. And so I could talk for much longer, but I know we have other people who have phenomenal stories to share. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Surrey Board of Trade. And my story will only continue. So chapter 2 to be continued. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sara. And I know the attendees have some questions for you afterwards, and we'll get to them as well. And so our next speaker is the former Young Entrepreneur of the Year in Surrey from 2019. He is the owner of Afghan Kitchen, Hassib Sarwari. Hassib, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. It's my honor to be here. Thank you for having me, Anita, Surrey Board of Trade, and the incredible sponsors for this event. I am the owner of Afghan Kitchen in South Surrey. We opened our doors in October of 2017, so it's been well over 3 years now. I remember my first job in Canada at Subway when I was 15 years old. We had moved to Canada and I was 18, very young, a new country. My dad had passed away in Afghanistan when I was a little kid, so I had been the caretaker of my mom and 3 young brothers since then. We lived in Burnaby and the Subway was in Vancouver, so I take the bus for an hour there, an hour back. And then throughout high school, I worked multiple retail jobs. At a young age, I knew responsibility and that sweat and hard work are the only ways to survive. I was actually fairly new to the restaurant industry. My family didn't own a restaurant back home, or we didn't have a business in Canada. I had worked in a restaurant before, but I was in retail management positions before I decided to finally realize my dream of having my own restaurant and to share my mom's authentic Afghan home recipes with the community. Which was one of my lifetime goals, to share the food that I grew up eating, to share my Afghan roots, culture with the rest of the world. The journey in the beginning was daunting, to say the least. Finding a commercial space, signing a commercial lease, finding a trustable contractor, getting the team ready to build the space before even having any restaurant staff. I had no idea about construction before. Like I said, I worked in a retail environment. So I had to talk to a lot of people, get myself up to speed on how to build a restaurant. We built it from scratch. It was definitely a daunting task. And I think I speak for everyone on the panel here today, and for anyone who's thought of taking that initial risk, that the process in the beginning is a very lonely journey. You start to have doubts before your business is even open. Like, is this going to be worth it? When I signed that 10-year lease, it's kind of life bound. But I was so sure that this is the life that I wanted for myself. So I try to clear my headspace as much as possible. At this time of entrepreneurship, I found that the most helpful for me was to envision the life ahead of me, and having encouraging people by my side and thinking about the future and what it will bring to me and my family. So staying positive was one of the things that really helped me get through the first couple of months when we were trying to open the restaurant. The future was rewarding, to say the least. I was, and I'm still so passionate about Afghan Kitchen that I really do put all my energy and time towards it. That's key in building a lasting business, especially still a small business at this time. When people around you see the effort that you put into your business, they'll be inspired as well. I'm there every day, from dishes to hosting to plating. I try to help as much as possible. We take Mondays off as a restaurant, but Mondays are the busiest day for me. Cleaning the fridge, the freezer, ordering supplies, ensuring the rest of the week is prepared. Some days, I'll be more tired than the others, and the work doesn't stop, and you have to get to it because you're the one to do it. And then you think about the reason that you're here, and then you just get to it. I've had several breakdowns since opening the restaurant. There were a lot of struggles in the beginning in finding the correct team and building the correct relationship with the suppliers. But we're blessed to have the best team right now. Everyone's like family, and it's a blessing to have family, but it comes with a lot of challenges. I'm sure you all know how it is to work with family, but our main focus is always our customers, and the method that we use to train our staff, both front of house and back of house, is the mentality that we're not here for each other, but for our guests. Mom's in the kitchen, so we treat this place like our home, and we tell that to everybody, that everyone that's coming in, they're not coming to a restaurant, but they're coming to our house. And then sometimes when the food's a bit salty, me and my managers would say, "Hey, Mom, the food's a bit salty today," and jokingly I would say, I'm okay with eating salty food at home, but our customers can't. And then she kicks me out of the kitchen. At Afghan Kitchen, we go above and beyond for our customers, not simply because we're in the hospitality industry, but because there are literally thousands of restaurants that the customers can choose from, yet they choose this one, and that I committed my life to. And for that, I'm always grateful to every single person who walks through our doors, our calls, that calls, and our phones are always ringing, because I owe this restaurant to them. The gratitude that I hold for customer translates to all of our interactions with our guests. This isn't to say that you can please everyone you meet, and we certainly do try our best. My partner and I, Winnie, we're talking about our opening days in the beginning, and we came across a message that one of our customers sent to us in the first week. It was so busy, so chaotic, and as a fairly new restaurant and a restaurant owner, first-time business owner, those first few weeks were like absolutely one of the most challenging days of our lives, but we were able to handle it. I remember that customer was missing an item because our kitchen just simply ran out of space to make that item for that day. And we were transparent, we apologized. I know there were a lot of shortcomings, and we gave thousands of dollars away in the beginning, but the main point was that you have to communicate to your customers and be honest and be transparent. 3 years have passed, plus a pandemic. We've learned so much, maneuvered our business model so many times due to the restrictions. And one thing has become crystal clear, that as long as you are positive, you have a good team around you, and you continue to work hard and inspire others, you can get through any challenges. And same thing during the pandemic. We had no idea what to do during the first shutdown, the second shutdown, the half shutdown. But what we did, we communicated, we let our customers know, and they were very, very supportive. I'm grateful for the community, for their support, and most of all, the city of Surrey. Food brings strangers, friends, families, couples together. And to be recognized as one of the top dining destinations as Afghan immigrants means the world to me, my mom, family, and our team here. And again, once again, I want to thank the Surrey Board of Trades, Anita, and the sponsors. They've been great to us from day one. So it's a blessing to be in the city of Surrey. I don't think I would have imagined we would be here after 3 years. And I'm so glad that we picked this city to make it our home and share our culture, our food, and our experiences with the city of Surrey. Again, thank you for letting me speak at this event.
Thank you so much, Hassib. Just so inspiring. And of course, I've had your amazing cuisine and just enjoy it so often. And it's just wonderful. And we'll get back to you with questions shortly. Our final speaker, she's just an amazing entrepreneur, and really what is known as a male-dominated field, but changing, evolving over a period of time. Please help me welcome the founder and CEO of Tochtech Technologies, Jessica Yang. Jessica, over to you.
Thank you, Anita. Thanks everyone to join us today. I'm Jessica Yan. It's my honor to be here today, and thanks for Startup Surrey and sponsor of this event. It's amazing. I was just thinking about the two previous speakers and listening to their stories. I think everyone has his own story, but something we do have in common. It's never been an easy journey. We started our company, Tochtech Technologies, in 2015. It's a digital health tech company where we build smart, cost-effective senior care solutions to support seniors to live healthier and safer lives. And we offer caregivers peace of mind. Our product can be used by families as well as care organizations. Just to introduce myself, I received my master's degree in computer science and international business in finance, and I started my career in Nokia headquarters. Most of my career has been working in a big company, doing tech, working in technology and managing teams. I had a great opportunity to lead global teams and participated in several multi-billion-dollar projects. Very similar to Sara said, in the beginning, I thought that would be my life, staying in a big company and working with great team and developing a world-class product. Very exciting. And until 5 years ago, I enjoyed working creatively, making impact to our lives, and am passionate about digital transformation. So what made the change? Why did we start Tochtech? It's a lot more of a personal story. I left my parents and hometown more than 25 years ago. And like many of you who live far away from your parents, one day we all face the same question: how can we take care of our parents as they are aging? We can't stay with them all the time, but we want to know they're fine, they're safe. So we wanted to create something that helps them retain their independence and that provide peace of mind for ourselves. This was the original intention to create this company. Like many other startups, we started with an idea to solve our own problem. We identified it as a cooking safety. I don't know how many of you ever left your stove on and forget. well, you can feel free to write a note, you leave a note in the chat box, and we can count later. My parents cook every day, and I worried that they may leave the stove on and forget every day. It happened to them several times, and it happened to myself too. So we created Smart Turns as our first product, which is a smart knob to replace the existing stove knob, so it can remind people when they forget. So the Smart Turns was awarded for People's Choice in the 2019 Agile National Challenge competition in the Western Canada region. So that was in the beginning of our startup journey. It was very encouraging because we start to see people using our technology in their daily lives. Since then, we keep developing more technology products so to support caregivers and seniors. Most of ideas come from talking to our customers. For example, getting night care is harder and challenging. So we developed Sleep Sense, which support family and care organization to better care for elderly at night. Sleep Sense, it's just being very lucky, and Sleep Sense again, it won 2020 Agile National Impact competition, and now it's in several senior living homes in Surrey. I think in Surrey there are several long-term care. They're using our Sleep Sense to help the night staff to monitor and taking care of the residents. So there are quite a few products we just keep developing, as I said, because of our technology backgrounds. And we really enjoy making a new product, and bringing that kind of change. We're introducing that change to the families. One of the, and then many seniors living on their own, as you know, they're over 80 or 90 years old. And their family wants to know if they're up and about. Do they need help right away or not? We all know that it is not practical to have full-time nanny for every independent living senior. Financial wise, not much possible, and even seniors, they may not want to have someone even with them all the time. Technology does not replace in-person care. That we keep telling people. However, in many cases, it is a most efficient and a cost-effective way to enable remote support. We built a solution called Surrey Care that uses sensor devices and AI to learn the activity of daily living of independent living seniors and inform family or caregivers when risks are detected. A lot of story come out after we deploy the product to different homes, especially families with dementia members, because that I think that's the family probably get one of the groups that get mostly impacted, where the lifestyle get mostly impacted, and then worry about the dementia members may walk out of the door at any time, and then many of them, they get confused from day and the nights, and they don't sleep for the whole night. So a lot of worries. The tool gives them breaks. So while we're supporting seniors, we're actually supporting the caregivers to relieve their stress. There are just a huge opportunities and unmet needs in the care sector. You would never run out of ideas. Nowadays, our products are in the care facilities and homes, supporting people in Canada, US, Australia, Europe, and this year we get into Thailand as well. Again, it's not easy in the beginning. Like many other sectors, health tech has its own challenge. We came as engineer background, so it's not a big challenge for us to create something, but it was a lot of difficulties for us to really get this into people's home in the beginning. Introducing technology is like introducing a change. Especially you are introducing this change to a group of people. The seniors may be over 80, 90 years old, and most of them don't use computer. And then another stakeholder, the families, well, even we talk about the adult children, they could be again, over 60 years old. So no matter how little the change it involves, not everyone likes changing. And also not every business can accommodate the change in a short time. It is a sector that requires a lot of patience. And of course, that means good funding support too. I'm just so lucky that we have a very knowledgeable team and everyone is so supportive to each other. So we try everything that we can to do internally so that we can keep our cost low. Before the pandemic, people had started to pay attention to the aging of the population. And people keep talking about, I think you all see in Canada already the growth of the senior population it's already more than the growth of the youth. However, the technology adoption remained low. When we got hit by the COVID-19, the seniors, the family with seniors and care industry got the most impact. All of a sudden, people looked for ways to keep connected with their loved ones. However, there were a lot of barriers to get things delivered and set up as quick as we wanted. And there comes more serious isolation and loneliness issues among seniors. I remember I called several times to some of our customers in, the senior customers who live in senior communities. It's really, when you hear they say they feel lonely, they don't see smiling faces because everyone is wearing masks. Some of the stories are really heartbreaking. When you hear the other end, the people telling you she can only see her husband over, through the window, but they couldn't talk to each other. Those are, again, it's a big motivation for us and for our team to keep working hard to push more than just developing the product, but also pushing the technology to the communities. Our business got hit in the beginning too because all the access was not allowed. We can't go to people's door. We can't talk to the senior living industry people because everyone has been focusing on dealing with the COVID crisis. Nobody had time to talk to us. Our project got delayed for more than half a year, and we had big delay from our suppliers because we couldn't get our shipments in time. It's like all of a sudden everything has to put on a pause. So we kind of adjust a bit of our priorities. So we keep our R&D work going, trying to make things working better, fix all the issues, and get prepared for the recovery. The COVID-19 pandemic reveals more issues in caring for the elderly and the urgent need for adopting technology to enable remote monitoring and connecting with elderly. I would say from that angle, we do see some positive impacts in helping business to introduce the technology and helping people to be more open to the change. It will certainly accelerate the adoption of the technology in the overall sector. Today, we already see the big uptick on technologies starting end of last year, from individual families, care organizations, and even seniors themselves. So I often got asked what has been the most rewarding part of starting your own company, because running a startup, it means many hours per day. It's definitely much difficult comparing to working in a big organization where you don't have to be responsible for everything in the business. But I would say when you, especially in the sector that we are working, when you receive a letter or email from your customers telling you that your product is amazing and it could be lifesaver for their family, I think that's the most rewarding part of my startup journey. And I recently got email from a doctor in UK who bought our Smart Turns, the cooking safety product. He told me that he's over 70 and his partner is 87. And Smart Turns gives them peace of mind because they had incidents several times before. And then we tell you another story. Our US customer uses our speaker product called Talkie. It's a little internet speaker device. She used Talkie to record more than 20 messages with her own voice and set it to play daily to her grandma who has dementia and is living in a UK care homes. There are a lot of such stories, that make me and my team so proud of what we're doing. I think that's also the biggest motivation to our team. That we can realize that we're making a positive impact in people's lives. We started our company in Surrey 5 years ago, and then we will continue be there. Our office is in Health and Technology District in City Center 1 building, with a few other great startups dedicated to digital health tech. As you just heard today, I think Surrey will be the largest populated city in BC. We have many customers in Surrey, and we're proud to continue to a smarter and healthier Surrey. If you would like to know more, I'm happy to connect. And thank you for organizing these events and having me here. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And if our other speakers could turn your camera on, we'll proceed to questions. All three of you were absolutely inspiring in terms of your presentations and all very unique stories. We do have some questions from the audience. Sara, over to you first. Can you speak about some of the technologies that you built? What platform, what systems?
Yeah, great question. So in my field of, I was really trying to create an opportunity that was in a gap between traditional fitness and medical care. And there's technology to support traditional fitness, and there's technology to support medical care. But when you merge those things together, there really was nothing. And so I brought on and actually employed software engineers. So we've built our platform on AWS and kind of incubated it in the MedStack product, so that, just for PHI and HIPAA compliance and so forth, because, we do hold people's medical information. So had never built software before, but for me, it was a great exercise of taking everything in my brain, turning it into a framework and spec documents, and making that come alive to really support, because then I could grow my business.
And one more question for you is, do you think the pandemic, from either a short-term, long-term perspective, is really going to support a higher level of understanding in the link between health and fitness, and that they're medicine? Yeah,
I think that as Canadians and globally, we have never thought more about our health than we have these last 15 months. We have become more sedentary as a nation, and chronic disease is higher now than it was before we entered the pandemic. And I think that this talk around our health and how moving and fitness can help our health. We know that exercise is medicine. We support the research in this country. We support the education behind exercise as medicine. Exercise lowers blood pressure, diabetes, improves depression, related to even compared to pharmaceutical medications. So I do think that as Canadians, we are going to look at fitness. When we look globally at other trends, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, there is a flooding back to fitness. And when I look at international conventions and conferences that are happening, some of the top keynote speaking items and topics are around medical fitness and exercise as medicine. So, thank you for this community giving me the opportunity to start it. Live Well Exercise Clinic is the only company that solely focuses on medical fitness and provides that support for people in North America. So we have an amazing opportunity out of this city to make a global impact.
So Jessica, I wanted to ask you about your company and the important and innovative work that you're doing. What was the market research process like, and how have you differentiated yourself from the competition, if you have any competition? If you can unmute yourself, please.
Oh, sorry for that. Yeah, it's a great question. So as said earlier, we came out as an engineers group. How do we know what is needed in the market? We didn't know in the beginning. We only know what do we need as a caregiver or as a family, adult children ourselves. So we worked with people already in this industry. So we worked very closely with home care agencies, home care owners in the beginning, and to identify what are the issues, what are the key problems people are facing at home. So that's how we started. We worked side by side for about a year, and then we work very closely also with people in the in the academics research as well, to understand what kind of factors are important when you're talking about aging, when you're talking about the declining of the health overall, especially for senior groups. So that's how we can make sure that we are working on the right product and we're addressing the right problems. A lot of people are working in the health tech sectors. How do we differentiate ourselves? I think one of the key things that we put it where we're proud of ourselves is we consider ourselves as innovators. So anything we start from the problem itself, we're not starting from looking at what are we're not looking at the product or what is the outcome first. We look at the problem, and then we look at how can we create a product that is addressing the problem reliably. So when we work on developing the sensor products, we try to make it more reliable. So we do the hardware and the software ourselves. Comparing many others, maybe rely on some portion from the third party or from other company, so they have huge dependencies. So we try to make ours to be better controlled, starting from the source of the data, and then all the way to the outputs, to the software or the tools that people can use, or the data people can rely on.
Thank you. Hassib, you said, and I know that this is a common thread for any entrepreneur, any leader, is that it's lonely at the top and no one really gets it until you're actually in it. And everyone can say, even your team, that, that's your job. And if you had to do it all over again, Hassib, and this is a question to all of you, would you be an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. I love every day of it. This is the life that I chose, and I'm very passionate about it. And I think in the last 3 years, I've inspired a lot of people in my industry to open a restaurant. I do a lot of consulting work on the side, even though 3 years ago I did not know anything about it. But yes, I would definitely do it all over again. It keeps me young, it keeps me happy, and I'm doing it for my family. So definitely something that helps me wake up every morning and at 7 in the morning and go to sleep at midnight, 7 days a week, definitely keeps me going. So yes, absolutely.
Sara?
Yes, absolutely. I think that it is riveting and thrilling and the best, movie ever, because there's just the thrill and excitement of it. And that takes a certain personality, right? To be able to kind of endure that. But I even all of the ups and downs and the hard decisions, I would do it all over again. And I am more excited and passionate and committed to the future today than I was before COVID-19. And again, I think that just shows that when we have obstacles in front of us, and when we, I once heard someone say, when we walk across the fire or we walk across the coals, that's when we realize that we're fireproof. And I think the last year has really shown us that. So all in.
Jessica.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is no different answer to that question among three of us. I can see it requires a lot of energy, but it actually gives us a lot of to keep up the energy as well. You become enjoy the not just the upside but also the down period as well. Just keep. I like hiking. It's like you keep climbing, you keep walking. You never stop. And I agree with Hassib. Keep you young and keep you happy. Yeah, for sure.
My final question to all of you is, as entrepreneurs, we're selling our product, selling our service. We're so busy doing that. What is one challenge that you're facing that government could improve or instigate change in that would help your industry, help your business? It could be labor, it could be taxation, it could be anything. Hassib, we'll start with you.
You said it. First would be labor for sure. Before we start talking with the panel, I was discussing this, that right now we're not open for lunch because we just don't have enough people. We have enough, and we're working very hard to just actually meet the demands of having just our dinner open. Labor would be one. They really need to find different ways to help different small businesses. They need to spend some time on this. The pandemic was a challenging time. A lot of people are either staying home or they've left the industry because a year and a half, for example, in the hospitality industry was quite difficult. And I advocate this on behalf of thousands of restaurants in the city. They had no source of income for a year and a half, so they decided that they want to do something different. And they're not coming back because it's a long road ahead to recovery. And then taxation would be another one. The city of Surrey really needs to look at it, how they can help small businesses, because even with the pandemic, the taxes didn't go down or was not on hold. We still had to pay for it and we'll continue to pay for it. And they really need to help us with the recovery process. Thank you.
Sara.
Yeah, I think that two things, and one well, Anita, is that I think from a national perspective, we need to encourage Canadians to be more active, and I think that most people know that we need to maybe move more, but I think that really encouraging people to work with and support fitness professionals, and I think there's huge advocacy around that. Our industry didn't go out and ask for a handout or a bailout or for millions or billions of dollars to help our industry. I think putting the power in Canadians' hands for Canadians to choose and say, I want to improve my health, and therefore here's a benefit to me. I think that is really critical. I also think that looking at like CURS and Qs ending in the fall is really concerning. I think that specifically speaking from the fitness industry, we have an industry who has been mostly shut for the good part of the last 15 months. And a third of fitness businesses across Canada have permanently closed already. I believe we're going to see another third who are just unable to withstand the reopening process. And with the loss of those types of subsidies, I think that by September, we're not going to have bounced back. We have taken on more debt than ever before. I had a profitable debt-free company coming into the pandemic, and now I have a company that has losses and has debt. And so we need customers to come back, and it's going to take a long time. And we need a little bit more grace and support to get there.
Thank you. Jessica.
I guess when that question comes to a sector that we're working for, the senior care sector, there are a lot. I would say there are a lot I think that government can do. And then I believe there are a lot of actions have been identified that they are ongoing. But how long it's going to take, we got to see. And there are a lot of senior advocacy. They've been working hard to bring the voices, and they've been keep working on that. To our business, I think, I mean, we're hoping the government can have more opportunity that offered for us to, to be able to deploy a product to the seniors, to offer it to seniors. So a lot of project that it can enable the seniors to try different technologies, because it's certainly one of the barrier for the seniors to try the technology. It could be financial problems. Most of them rely on government to support. So bringing technology, or even they want to try it, maybe some of the project can, or opportunities that can allow them to try product from from startups, or give them the chance.
So I wanted to let all of you know, in conclusion, earlier this week, there's a group of us that wrote a letter to the federal government with more communication to come for those hardest hit industries, for the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy to be extended until the end of the year. And so more to come on that. And really, as it relates to all three industries that are presented this morning, starting tonight, we actually, over a 12-year period of time, have hosted the Canada-India Network Society Conference. And it's tonight up until Sunday afternoon, where we brought in Canadian physicians, preventative mechanisms related to health, how to eat right, for all segments of the population, and not only the South Asian community. So there's going to be a lot of good work being done, not only this weekend, but also in the subsequent months. And so thank you so much to all three of you. You're all so inspiring. Surrey has amazing entrepreneurs, great assets, like all three of you. And I look forward to working with all three of you, as does Startup Surrey. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you to our co-host, Startup Surrey. And we have a great lineup of events still taking place this month into the summer. Check it all out at businessinsurrey.com. Make it a great business day